What up, everybody, man? It's your boy JK. Today is Thursday, so you already know what it is. It's Tackle Thursday. All right, Tackle Thursday, another edition of Tackle Thursday live with JK on IG Live, on Facebook Live, man. Back here again with another week. Blessed to be back, man. Today, I'm tackling, you tackling, we're tackling. We're making a gang tackle today on the topic, right? It's in a question or a statement, I should say, being secure in who you are not, right? Being secure in who you are not. I know that's like, hold on, like I know we gotta, but yeah, I know we gotta be secure with who we are, right? We talk about it, even myself, being a lifetime wellness instructor, educator. We talk about, I talk to them about, hey, you got to know who you are. We talk to kids, we're raising them. Even my own kids, like, hey, this is who you are. Something, doing words of affirmation with my son. Looking in the mirror, hey, I'm a man of God, right? I can do all things, right? So let him know who he is. And that is so important. We got to know who we are, right? We want to be secure in who we are. But I also believe what will help us be secure in who we are and knowing who we are is being secure in who we are not and knowing who we and what we are not, right? That's where one of the things I believe keeps us from fully being appreciative of everything about us. I believe that's one of the things that keep us from fully embracing our situation or our career or our job, our relationship, our marriage. Why? Because so many times we're focused on what we are not, right? So many times we put emphasis on what we don't have. And that keeps us from appreciating what we do have. That keeps us from valuing who we are. That keeps us from saying, you know what, like, I like who I am. We struggle as people sometimes to come to grips with our identity, because part of our identity is we have some things and we lack some things. We got some strengths and we got some weaknesses. That's everybody in the world has those things. But I believe the people who are able to really maximize their life, maximize their relationships, maximize their careers are people who are secure in who they are not. Right? And so one of the things, like I say, like when we think about the frustration, right? Because a lot of my Tackle Thursdays, the topics, I'm really focusing on perspective. Anything that I'm talking about, I'm not sitting up here saying everything that I say is absolutely correct. Nah, you know what I'm saying? A lot of it, obviously, if I'm pulling from the Word of God, I believe that's to be, truth. But my take on a particular topic, could be my perspective. It could be my opinion or whatnot. So I'm not sitting up here saying, hey, what I say is the gospel. No. But with the different topics, it's about seeing different things from a different lens, from different perspective. That's why I love going live and being able to have interaction, because I may be tackling, right, this topic from one angle. But then when y'all share doing, when y'all share during the conversational aspect, or when y'all type y'all comments, I'm able to see the angle that y'all tackling it from. And it's been many times that I walk away like, dang, I learned something new, or I learned something different. Just like if I was in a football game, I might tackle somebody low on their legs, but then somebody might come and tackle them high, and then somebody might grab an arm, but at the end of the day, we all tackle that person. And so that's my mindset when doing Tackle Thursday. It's like, yo, like, I may come with a perspective, y'all have perspectives, but we add it all together and we could tackle these topics and being able to lead better than we came. And so I believe one of the key frustrations in different areas of our lives is that we're focusing on who we are not, right? We're not secure in who we are not. Right? And so even like with sports, so I just start like with sports. We got the draft going on today. When you watch the draft today, when you watch the first round, watch how so many, and it's a part of their job, So it's not saying they doing something bad or whatever. But watch how many commentators talk about what the player who got drafted cannot do. Watch how much time is spent on who the players aren't and what they cannot do, right? I'm talking about they getting drafted in the first round, so you know they got to be elite talent. But so many times I have watched the draft and they spend so much time on, oh, the player can't do this and they can't do this. But the thing about the NFL teams is the NFL teams have come to a grips with what each player that they draft cannot do, right? But they're not drafting them based on who they are not. They're drafting them on what they can do, right? They're drafting them on, they're focusing on, hey, this is what this player can do, right? So if I'm drafting a DB and I know I got a man-to-man system, right? I'm going to be secure with, okay, this player struggles in zone to zone. I mean, this player struggles in zone defense. I don't care that the player struggle in zone defense. I'm okay with who they are not. They're not a zone defender, right? I'm okay because I run a man defense. And their strength is they play man-to-man. So if they play man-to-man, I can care less that they struggle in zone. Now, if I was a zone defense, right? And they say that the DB struggles in man-to-man, but he excels in zone, I'm still okay. Why? Because his strengths match. I'm drafting him for what he can do, and I'm okay with who that player is not, right? But even in our own personal, like if you play sports, like for me, I was never the biggest. No team that have I played on have I been the most athletic player on the team. Do I think I'm athletic? Yeah, I believe I'm athletic, but I was never one of the freakish athletic players on the team. Like in high school, Jason Pierre-Paul, y'all know him, won 2 Super Bowls, just won one with the Bucks, right? This man could do at 6'6", could do about 6 straight backflips, right? That's not who I am, right? I wasn't a free athlete like Jason. I wasn't 6'6". I wasn't long. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't kick the ball down the field and run down there and make the tackle like Jason, right? That wasn't me. But I was secure in who I was, being 5'9", being 150-something pounds in high school. I was secure with who I was not. That's not me, right? And even though that's not me, I knew acknowledging who I'm not allowed me to focus on who I am, and I was able to say, okay, I'm quicker than fast, right? So I got to have real good technique, because if we get in a foot race, you might outrun me because I'm quicker than fast. But in small spaces, or we got to, you know what I'm saying, make a quick change of direction, I can do that, but those are my strengths, right? That's what I can do, and I know who I'm not. You know what I'm saying? And I'm secure in that. Same thing when we look at relationships, right? So many times we look at, you know, we can get caught up in other relationships, right? You know, when you're dating and you're looking at people who are married, you can say, man, we ain't got that. Like, we ain't married, we just date, right? And so many times, or even when you marry, you can look at this couple and be like, oh, boy, they killing it. They traveling here, they traveling there. Because we human, right? We human. We can see, we can compare ourselves to other people and be like, they got that, I don't have this. And so, and if we stay focused on what we don't have, then we don't appreciate or truly see what we do have. And so now you walk around like, and all you talk about is what you don't have. And all you talk about when you talk to your, you know, you may talk to your friends about your spouse, you like, you talk, or your significant other, you talking about what he or she don't have. She don't do this, she don't do that, she don't do this. But what do they do, right? Because so many times if we focus on what our spouses or significant others don't do, then we're not appreciating the great things that they do. And so many times we could be frustrated in our relationship because all we're focusing on is what that person doesn't do or who that person is not. But I think sometimes, like for myself, right? I'm not perfect. There are things, I have shortcomings. You get what I'm saying? Right? And I'm striving, I'm working to get better, right? But as my wife knows, like, man, that boy Jeremy, boy, you know, he might be dragging his feet with doing X, Y, Z. But right, but she comes to appreciate or accept me for what I may not be, and focuses on the good about me. Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, she may say, hey, look, can you do this better, X, Y, Z? Can you work on this? Yeah, but at the end of the day, she focuses on who I am, right? Opposed to putting more emphasis on what I'm not, right? And even with our career, you know, me starting businesses, you might be, you know what I'm saying, a clothing designer, right? And you looking at all these other clothing designers or whatever the case may be. You could be looking at Louis Vuitton or whatever, and you're like, man, my business is not that. Or you might be a restaurant, you might have a food truck, and you might be looking at somebody that started a restaurant. You're like, man, like, oh man, only if I could be a restaurant. Only if I could just have my stuff in a store, right? But that may not be you at that time. And the quicker you are secure and you accept that's not you at this moment, the better and the faster you will be able to maximize what you do have to potentially, ultimately get into that store or get into that restaurant. You get what I'm saying? Like, the faster, I believe, me as a player, I accepted being undersized, not being the fastest, not being the biggest, not being highly touted, not being highly recruited. The faster that I was able to accept that. Now, it wasn't easy. There was a lot of comparing going on. Don't get me wrong, especially when it came down to going to the league. Like, that was hard. Knowing people in the league and then playing in the arena, I'm like, man, like, I could not appreciate arena the longer that I was not secure in the fact that I did not make it to the league. Like, there was insecurities that I had as a football player because I didn't make it to the NFL. I was like, dang, like, okay, I'm having success in the arena league, but I ain't make it to the league, though. I'm not in the NFL, right? And I wasn't secure in me not being in the NFL. And because I wasn't secure in who I was not, then I really wasn't able to enjoy arena. But eventually, around about my third year in arena, when I was like, look, man, this is what God got me. I heard TDJ say, hey, look, you know, be great on your level, dominate where you are. And once I started to say, you know what, I'm okay with not being in the NFL. Yeah, I want to be there one day. It doesn't define me ultimately. The moment I became secure in me not being in the league, I was able to truly, truly flourish in what I did have, right? And so we got to understand, and I encourage you to truly, truly understand that we have limitations as human beings, like we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have limitations. There are things that people could do that you can't do, right? But that's okay. That may not just be who you are, and that is okay, right? Because part of knowing who you are, right, is knowing who you're not. That's part of it, right? And so I believe that part of, you know, being able to relieve ourselves of the frustration that we feel or we may have when it comes to not having something or not being where we see other people are, part of the way I think we get relief from that frustration is focusing on our strengths and not our weaknesses. You know what I'm saying? So if you look at athletics, right? We talk about teams, right? And when you get into an NFL season, right? Let's look at the Tennessee Titans, right? The Tennessee Titans, what would you say their strength is, right? Running the football. Like, that's their strengths. That's their strength. Going into the year, we run the football, right? And so they may try to, yes, where we're weak, we're going to try to improve the passing game. We're going to try to do X, Y, Z. We're going to try to do this. But at the end of the day, we're going to emphasize our strengths. And so what they do, they ride their strengths all the way. They ride Derrick Henry all the way as far as they can. The year before, made it to the conference championship. Last year, made it to the playoffs, right? But at the end of the day, they're going to ride their strengths. Because guess what? The Titans know who they are not. They know, hey, we not the Kansas City Chiefs. We don't just sling that thing around. No, we turn around, 22 right, 22 down the middle, 22 left. The Titans know who they are and they know who they are not. And instead of being caught up and trying to say, you know what, let's be like the Chiefs or let's be like every other, NFL team. Let's be a high-powered offense by throwing the ball. Even though Tannehill be slinging that rock. But at the end of the day, they focus on their strengths, right? They focus on their strengths. And that's what we got to do. I have weaknesses, right? I have weaknesses. So, yes, I try to improve my weaknesses, but I need to place more emphasis on my strengths. Because I'm going to get a whole lot more done, most likely emphasizing my strengths than neglecting my strength and just solely focusing on my weaknesses. I'm not saying don't look at your weaknesses. I'm not saying that, right? But I'm saying be secure in who you're not. For instance, I know me, I am not the creator. I'm not creative in the sense of when it comes to digital design or drawing or creative designs, right? If y'all watch my wife, that is my wife. My wife is the creator, creativity. My flyers that I post, I don't do that. My wife does that. That is a weakness of mine. But I'm secure in the fact that I am weak when it comes to creative designs. So what do I do? Hey, babe, I need you to, can you do this flyer for me? Right? I call her, I pass that off, and I focus on my strengths. But I'm secure in who I am not. Right? And so if we focus on our strengths more than our weaknesses, then we will have less frustration I believe, in areas of our life. We'll have less frustration in our life in general because we're focusing more on who we are and we're secure with who we are not, right? And then we're able to work around the limitations that we may have, right? But if I'm so caught up on, man, I ain't tall as a DB. I ain't tall. And you so caught up on you're not tall that you don't spend time working on your strengths. Okay, maybe you're not tall. Maybe you're not fast. But there's something about you that you do good. But how about you can work on that and do it great? You get what I'm saying? Same thing about our businesses. I could look at other speakers, right? They doing their thing. And don't get me wrong, I'm human. So I'm like, well, ooh, man, I wish I had that influence. Or for myself in my own lane. I don't want I want my own, right? Success in my own lane, right? So I'm like, oh, man, so-and-so, they got about 4 cameras while they recording, right? I'm not at that point right now. And I have to be secure in that, right? And because if I'm not secure in the fact that, I don't have a whole team. I don't have a whole production team. But if I get so caught up and what I don't have, then I won't take advantage of what I do have to maximize and to make Tackle Thursday or to put it on different platforms. I have to utilize what I have, right? Be secure in what I don't have right now. Be okay with it. Not saying I'm not trying to grind to get it, but understand, okay, this is not where I am right now. But I know what I do have. I'm going to maximize what I do have to make strides to maybe one day getting what I may not have. All right? So basically, at the end of the day, definitely, bro, definitely, when you focus on the negatives, you forget about the positives. Hands down. That, I can't say it no simpler than that. When you focus on the negatives, you forget about the positives. You forget about the positives. Like, think about this. If y'all ever been in, you know what I'm saying, y'all in a dating relationship or you married, right? And you get in an argument. You say, man, you do this all the time. All the time, you always, right? We always throw out always or never, right? And in actuality, it'd be only like 2 times that they might have did this. Or 2 times they might have said this. But in our head, we like, oh, you do this all the time. And we focus so much on the 1, the 2, the 3 times that our significant other or our spouse do these things that we forget about the thousands, the hundreds of times that they don't do it. And so you can take 3 negatives and focus on 3 negatives and forget about 1,000 positives. Right? Because it's just where we turn our attention to, that's ultimately what we focus on. So if I focus on my weaknesses, then I'm going to walk around and say, I can't do it. I'm not going to be successful. This is not meant for me, right? I can't do it. I don't have the resources, right? Okay, you might not have those resources. You might not have those people supporting you. You might not, you may not have access to this. But you have something going for yourself. You got some positive. You got something that you could utilize, that you could build on to be able to grow and to be able to, be encouraged about. You know what I'm saying? Like I think even with sports, right? Like you could look at a season when you don't win a championship, like the Chiefs. They could look at their season. They could be like, oh, we didn't win the Super Bowl. And be like, oh, it was a bad season. But if they take a step back and they say, okay, look, we might have improved in this area. We got this. Let's focus more on the positive. Yeah, I understand the negatives. I understand we need to improve our offensive line. I understand we need to protect Mahomes better. I understand we need to do X, Y, Z. But these are some positive things that we did, right? And it changed the whole perspective. But if all we focus on are the negatives in our lives, if all we focus on is what we don't have, if all we focus on is the negative in our relationship, the negative in our careers, if all we focus on is lack, then we are never going to see or not really going to be able to see what it is that we do have. Because we got a lot. Like the fact that we still alive and breathing, you got a lot. You got opportunity. You got a chance to make your situation better, to improve your situation. So definitely, man, if you just got on Tackle Thursday, man, we just tackling the topic, being secure in who you are not, right? Like, yes, it's so important that we are secure in who we are. But I believe what keeps us from being secure in who we are is not coming to grips with who we are not, right? And so understanding that we have weaknesses, we have limitations, right? But our limitations and our weaknesses is just a part of us. You get what I'm saying? But it doesn't define us. That in actuality, you got strengths, you have things that about you that will allow you to overcome, right? Your weaknesses and still be able to go to new heights. And sometimes in our lives, who we are not is what actually makes us who we are. That's crazy. Who we are not in many cases makes us who we are. You get what I'm saying? Like, let's look at Michael Jordan. Like, I say this, and if I say this, y'all gonna think I'm the craziest person in the world, right? So we look at Michael Jordan, right? I personally don't believe that Michael Jordan was the most talented basketball player. You get what I'm saying? I don't think he was the most talented basketball player, right? He got cut in high school, right? Nothing wrong with it. Because I've been cut from, not high school, but I've been cut from teams, stuff like that. So that doesn't define you. But what I'm saying is, he wasn't, like, LeBron James never got cut in high school. Dwayne Wade never got cut in high school. You get what I'm saying? Why? Because their talent level was so great, right? And so because of who Michael Jordan was not in high school, originally freshman year or whatever the case may be, because of who he was not in high school, actually drove him to being who he is, which was arguably the best player to ever play the game. Isn't that crazy though? Right? because he was not the most talented player. Even when you look at him in college, like people would tell you that no way did they imagine Michael Jordan ever going to the NBA and doing what he did. Even in college, he hit the game with a shot, right? He was a freshman on the team. He was another freshman on the team. Yes, he was a great freshman, but nobody ever thought that he would go to be and become who he is, right? But being who he wasn't in high school caused him to get cut. So having that weakness, having that lack, having that happen to him, that weakness actually spurred him on to be who he is. Now, we look at Amanda Gorman, right? The young lady that did the inauguration speech this year, right? She grew up with a speech impediment. So her weakness or limitation, her speech impediment, that weakness, that limitation actually spurred her on to being who she is now. You know what I'm saying? So being secure in what we may lack or may be a weakness of ours, being secure in that can all actually spur us on to maximizing what we do have and truly being and becoming who we who we've been created, by God to be. All right, so definitely, man. So I definitely want to open it up to Tell Them Kellem portion of the segment. Feel free to chime in. We could talk about anything. We got the draft coming up. We talk about Mother's Day coming up, fatherhood, marriage, athletics, sports. We definitely could talk about this topic: being secure in who you are not. Being secure in who you are not, man, it's big. It's big. Being secure who you are in who you are not will help you ultimately see who you are, right, and allow you to tap into your strengths and focus more on your strengths than you do your weakness, right? And so I'm not saying just totally neglect your weakness, but I'm saying focus more on your strengths. Try to, work to improve your weakness, but emphasize, highlight your strengths. All right, so definitely want to open it up. Any questions, comments, like I say, man, it could be about anything. Football, got the draft coming up. Who I think gonna be number one. Well, we knew who's gonna be number one, but who gonna be the second quarterback off the board? Whatever the case may be, man, or how does this, you can talk about how this topic, or share a comment on how this topic relates to you, how you feel about the topic in the sense of just, being secure of who you are not, or how have you been able to accept who you are not, right, and focus more on who you are. All right, so definitely want to leave it, give about a minute or so to see if anybody got any questions or comments. Appreciate that, dog. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. So definitely, I appreciate you getting on, man. I don't take your presence lightly, dog. I appreciate you getting on, man. I definitely appreciate that, Twan. Yeah, man. So any questions, comments, give it, like I say, give it like a minute. Anybody want to put in comments, questions? Like I say, it's a lot we could talk about. Talk about basketball, the social injustice we see going on in the United States of America, or just the world in general, man. But definitely would like, at least, a comment or two to be able to tackle that or address that, or see, what y'all thinking about and how y'all feel. But if not, that's cool too. So I'll probably give about 30 more seconds. About 30 more seconds to see if anybody else got any questions or comments. Let me see. Hey, appreciate that. Appreciate you getting on, man. Appreciate you, man. Like, yeah, definitely. I appreciate you getting on and listening. Man, like at the end of the day, like anytime I do Taco Thursday, I try to definitely talk about something either I'm experiencing, went through, or just my perspective, or just my experience. to a certain extent, man, just because I feel like I can resonate more. And if I can resonate more with what I'm talking about, then it's going to be more personal. And I think be able to make a greater impact in those that are listening, and it be more authentic, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what it's all about. I want to be authentic to those that watch, that listen, and just be honest and be real, you know what I'm saying, to a certain extent, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to disclose all, you know, my business or personal stuff, but definitely want to be able to be transparent to a certain extent where there could be relatability amongst me and those that listen as well. So feel free, man. Anybody else want to comment? You know, got any questions or anything like that? Shout out to my cousin, man, with this dope pullover. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be taking some pictures and tagging them. So y'all definitely go copy y'all pullover. He in the Navy too. Shout out to Theudis, man, for serving our country, man. So I appreciate that as well. So I guess I'll answer my own question. Who I think the number 2 quarterback gonna be tonight is, I don't know, man. That's a good question. I would probably, I think Justin Fields should be the second quarterback taken off the board. But, you know, everybody, you know, got their preferences on what they like. You know, I've been hearing the Niners with Jones from Alabama. So that's going to be interesting to see. At the end of the day, man, I think, you know, wherever they get drafted at, I mean, it's going to be disappointing for some because they want to go higher. But I look at it, too, it's all about perspective, right? You could be disappointed that you went number 10, you know what I'm saying, and you didn't go number 1. But I remember being disappointed I didn't go not one number, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, man, it's about perspective, you know? So if you caught up in, I didn't go number, you know, I didn't go number 1, number 2, number 3, but think about the people that didn't go first round at all, or think about the people that may not get drafted at all. Like, you still you gotta focus on the positive in that. I can focus on the negative and say, man, they dropped me. And yeah, you're gonna have those natural emotions, right? Those you're gonna tap into those emotions, you're gonna feel those emotions, you're gonna let those emotions drive you to be the best you can be. But you know, eventually you gotta switch it and transfer your focus and say, you know what, at the end of the day, I got drafted, I'm blessed to be in the league, I'm about to make some generational changing money, and be able to take advantage of the opportunity that you got to be in the league. And even if you don't get drafted and you get signed as a undrafted free agent, you got to be thankful. Yeah, you're going to be mad, man. I ain't get drafted. But then there's people that didn't even get signed. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't get even signed to an undrafted free agent contract. So it's all about perspective. Then if you don't get drafted, it's like, okay, I'm going to be upset. I don't get drafted. I don't get signed as an undrafted free agent. But then you got to be thankful, like, man, you got the opportunity to play college football. Not everybody went to school for free. So at the end of the day, like, what I look at, like, life really, really about is being secure in what we don't have, or who we're not, or what doesn't go our way, and taking our focus off of what doesn't go our way or what we don't have, and putting our focus on what we do have. That's really what life, in my honest opinion, is about. It's about perspective. You know what I'm saying? I can look at the glass half full, I can look at it half empty. If I look at it half full and I focus on that, then I'm encouraged that, hey, I just need a little bit more and I'm going to be all the way to the top. But if I focus on half empty, I'm like, man, I'm never going to make it to the top, man. I got a long way to go, right? And that mentality can lead to, you know what I'm saying, you going through life down, not feeling good emotionally, upset, opposed to looking at it half full and focusing on that. You going through life optimistic. You like, man, I just need one break. That break may never come, but I would rather walk through life just believing that my one break will happen today than to thinking that it will never happen. Because I know if I wake up thinking my break going to happen today, I'm walking around encouraged. I'm like, oh, boy, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And if I go to sleep and it doesn't happen, I'm going to wake up like, hey, all right, today the day, right? Not saying you're going to feel good, but if you have that mentality, your life, your outlook on life is going to be a whole lot better instead of waking up and saying, it ain't gonna happen today. And then you wake up the next day, it ain't gonna happen today. Right? Like, having that mentality is not the way to go, man. Not the way to go. All right, not saying we don't feel those emotions, but we can't rest in that type of mentality. All right, so look like, you know what I'm saying, nobody else may have any questions or comments, and that is cool. I'm pretty sure people like, man, I'm trying to get on this draft, cuz they probably already drafted the first person. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, man, I appreciate y'all getting on Taco Thursday with JK, live on IG, live on Facebook. Don't forget, man, I'm up on Instagram. I'm up on YouTube as well. Please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jeremy Kellem /WeImpactNow/win, WIN, right? All one page. So if you type in Jeremy Kellem, you're probably going to see the page pop up. Type in win, We Impact Now, see the page. Please subscribe. I put my Taco Thursdays up on there. I put other videos. I put speaking engagements up on there. The whole nine, man. Just being able to continue to put out encouraging words, encouraging messages, and letting you see other things that I'm doing in the community, other things I'm doing, you know what I'm saying, just on my everyday, but also, you know, letting, you know, people see, hey, look, hey, if y'all need to speak at your school, speaking to your athletic team, speaking to your teachers, your scholars, whatever the case, I'm that guy. Please, let's go, you know what I'm saying? So, man, with that being said, man, y'all have a blessed night. Be sure to continue to wake up striving to win on purpose. Be intentional about winning. In your marriage, you got to be intentional about it. A good marriage doesn't just happen on mistake. It takes intentional work. A great business doesn't just happen on mistake. It takes a intentional great work, right? So you got to be intentional about winning, right? Strive to win on purpose. And man, y'all have a blessed day. Enjoy the draft, man. Shout out to everybody that get drafted tonight. Shout out to everybody, Lord willing, get drafted tomorrow. Shout out to the undrafted free agents. And those that don't get drafted, your value is not in your draft stock or if you get drafted. It's still opportunities to go play ball. It's other leagues you could go play. You still could get in the NFL. And even if you don't make it to the NFL, you know what I'm saying? Your life still ain't over. It's still value in your life. It's still purpose in your life. And I can say that because I'm living it right now. Didn't get drafted, didn't make it to the league, was blessed to go play in the arena league, had a lot of success, thank the Lord, right? But my value was not tied up. I thought it was tied up into making it to the league, but it wasn't tied up into making it to the league. That me playing football is not who I am, right? It was just what I did, right? And so just remember that, man, and be encouraged, man. So, man, y'all enjoy the draft, man. Y'all have a blessed night. And I'll holler at y'all next Thursday.